Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz. This is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Saturday, July 27th, 2024. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet in the MLB, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Saturday, Major League Baseball. First up, we have an afternoon game between the Rangers and the Blue Jays. 3:07 Eastern start time. Lorenzen and Gausman are the starters. And honestly, I don't really love either of these starting pitching options in this game. Lorenzen, I've mentioned, while he's pitched well on paper, the expected numbers aren't the best. His control hasn't been the best this year. And on the other side, Kevin Gausman has really struggled at Rogers Center. He's got an ERA at 6.96 at home this season. His last game was good enough for a win, against the Tigers at Rogers Center, but still was 4 earned runs and home run, 3 walks, and 6 2/3. So for me, I just trust this Rangers lineup more. I think their bullpen's stronger. When you look at the numbers in July, the Blue Jays bullpen has got a 6.11 ERA and the worst xFIP in baseball. The Rangers bullpen's actually made big-time improvements. Solid 3.27 ERA, 10th best in xFIP. So give me the Rangers in this game on the money line. Next up, we see the San Diego Padres and the Baltimore Orioles. This one, 4:05 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Michael King and Dean Kramer are the starters. I really like what I'm seeing from Michael King. I mean, his last game, he was dominant against the Cleveland Guardians, a tough lineup. 7 innings, only 2 base hits, only 1 run. He had 6 strikeouts against a team that does a great job at limiting strikeouts. And the most important thing, the Padres went on to win that game, 2-1 the final score. He's just been sharp. I mean, his last 4 games, 1 earned run given up in all those games. So a lot of quality starts. The control's been there. He's striking out batters. And I think he pitches well. I mean, the Orioles are a tough matchup again, but they haven't been that great against right-handed pitching in July. I don't really love Dean Kramer on the other side. I think San Diego can get to him for a few runs. Kramer's got an ERA above 6 so far at Camden Yards this season. Give me the Padres on the money line. Next up, a big-time NL East rivalry. The Braves and the Mets. Schwellenbach and McGill are the starters. And Tyler McGill's first start back at the Major League level since the end of June. And he's actually pitched really well in AAA Syracuse. I believe he had a sub-3 ERA there in about 5 starts. And I think he pitches pretty well in this game. He's been somebody that I'd like to back at Citi Field a lot more than on the road. So far this season, an ERA at 3.46 at home in 26 innings of work, 32 strikeouts, only 1 home run given up. I like Spencer Schwellenbach on the other side, but he's coming off not a great outing. Gave up 3 home runs against the St. Louis Cardinals in a loss. And I think the Mets can get to him for a few runs early. I do think Atlanta has the bullpen advantage, but just slightly. The Mets bullpen still top 10 in baseball in xFIP in the month of July. So give me the Mets on the money line in this one. Next up, the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Andrew Abbott and Zach Littell are on the mound. And this is a tough one because the Rays are hitting lefties very well in July. The Reds are crushing righties in the month as well. But when you look at Zach Littell, I mean, he's pitched so well at Tropicana Field this season. He's another one of those starting pitchers for Tampa Bay that just pitches a lot better at home. On the road in 48 innings, a 5.81 ERA, a losing record at 1-4 with a 3.43 opponent's batting average. But at Tropicana Field, that ERA is at 3.36 in 59 innings, right around a strikeout per inning. Very low opponent's batting, or much lower opponent's batting average by about 100 points. The control's been better as well. For me, I got to go with the Rays in this one. I think Littell bounces back after his last start. It was on the road. He has not given up more than 3 earned runs in a home start since April 22nd. So he's just been consistent at Tropicana Field. I'm going to go with the Rays in the money line. Next up, the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Carlos Carrasco and Tyler Phillips are your starters. Phillips has pitched well so far in his first few games. Now, I do expect some regression. Last start only 3 strikeouts and 6 innings of work, but so far so good. And the Phillies have won his last 2 starts, and with Carrasco on the other side, I'm willing to take the Phillies in this one on the money line and run line. Carrasco's got an ERA above 5 on the season, above 5 on the road, with a 1-4 losing record on the road. That last game against Detroit, 6 earned runs given up, 9 base hits. I don't think he's a viable option at the Major League level right now. I think the Phillies get to him for a few runs early. I'm going to go with Philadelphia in this one. Next up, we'll go to the AL Central as the Twins take on the Tigers. Joe Ryan and Tarek Skubal are your starters. Skubal, of course, one of the names we're hearing as a potential, option at the trade deadline for some teams. The Tigers are more than likely going to be sellers at some capacity. Getting rid of some veteran contracts, but we'll see if they really go all in and get rid of the, right now, favorite to win the AL Cy Young, and if he even stays in the AL. But Skubal's been excellent at home this season, 6-0 record with a sub-2 ERA, 66 strikeouts, and 57 and two-thirds home innings. However, Joe Ryan on the other side has also pitched well this year on the road, a 3.28 ERA. And for me, I think Skubal pitches well, as he did against these Twins back on July the 2nd, where it was a quality start for him. But the Twins still ended up winning that game in the end, 5-3. It goes to show you, I trust this Twins lineup more. I think they have the better bullpen. So if this is a close game late, which I think it very well could be with two good starting pitchers, I think the Twins find a way to win this game. And at this kind of price, I think there's definitely a lot of value in Minnesota. So give me the Twins in this one on the money line. Next up, the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. Marcus Stroman and Cutter Crawford are your starters. Of course, the Red Sox making a blockbuster deal, picking up James Paxton, the former Red Sox. He'll be rejoining the rotation. We've talked about Paxton quite a bit on the rundown this year, so we're happy to see him back in an MLB rotation after being DFA'd earlier this week. But when you look at this matchup, Cutter Crawford has faced the Yankees twice. He's pitched well against them in both of those games, both quality starts, both Red Sox victories. Crawford's given up a lot of home runs recently, 5 home runs in that last game alone against the Dodgers, which is always a concern when you got Aaron Judge and Juan Soto at the top of that Yankees lineup. I could certainly see either of those guys and beyond hitting a home run in this game, but I still think Crawford could be the better option by the end of this one. I think he'll pitch pretty well in this game, and Stroman's not been the sharpest recently. He's given up a lot of home runs as well, 2 or more home runs in 3 of his last 5 starts. He wasn't great against the Red Sox back opposite of Cutter Crawford in that game on June 16th, where he gave up 4 earned runs, 7 base hits, 4 walks in that 9-3 Red Sox win. So for me, I think the Yankees have the better bullpen, so I'm just going to take the Red Sox in the first 5 innings. I'm going to take them on the money line. Next up, the Chicago Cubs taking on the Kansas City Royals. Shota Imanaga and Seth Lugo are your starters. The Royals have had lefties well at Kauffman Stadium, not just this year, but last year as well. And when you look at their numbers in July against lefties, they don't have the best numbers in terms of OPS or isolated power, but they still have a very low strikeout rate, 12.6% against lefties in the month of July. I think that's going to be an issue for Imanaga in this game. And I think when you look at Seth Lugo, how well he's pitched overall this season, how he's been a winning machine for the Royals, 12-4 record. Obviously the 2.38 ERA looks sharp on paper. He's in good form. He's coming off a complete game against the White Sox. He's a very efficient starting pitcher. So the good thing about Lugo is, the Royals bullpen hasn't been the best this year, but Lugo can go 7, 8, and like we just saw, 9 innings, and that could really help that bullpen in the end. I'm going to go with the Royals in this game on the money line at Kauffman Stadium. Next up, we see the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Houston Astros. Justin Robleski and Ronel Blanco are your starters. Robleski's coming off his best start at the major league level thus far in that last game against Boston. 4 1/3 innings, no earned runs, 5 strikeouts in a victory for LA. But still, the control's off a little bit, and I do think the Astros are a really tough matchup. While the Red Sox have a very high strikeout rate against lefties this year, the Astros usually do a pretty good job at limiting strikeouts against southpaws, and they've also improved their numbers just overall in the month of July, top 10 in baseball in team OPS and isolated power against lefties. So I like their matchup with Blanco on the mound, one of their better options in the starting rotation, and the improvements that the bullpen has made in the later part of the season. I like the Astros in this one on the money line. Next up, we see the Miami Marlins taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. No official starter for the Fish, but Aaron Savali should be going for Milwaukee. Savali, since joining the Brewers, has a 15 2/3 innings, 5.74 ERA. We know he does give up a lot of home runs. He's given up 5 already in those 15 innings. Not really what you want to see. 9 walks to go with it. His strikeout numbers are strong, but the home runs and walks are really tough to ignore. And for me, when you look at the Marlins, they don't have an official starter. We can pretty much infer that they're going to rely on that bullpen quite a bit in this game. And this is a bullpen that the Marlins have really improved as the season's gone along. In the month of July, a 2.56 ERA and the 4th best xFIP in baseball. For me, the value is going to lie with the Marlins in this one. I'm going to go with Miami on the money line. Next up, the Seattle Mariners taking on the Chicago White Sox. Brian Wu and Eric Fetty are your starters. This is a game where I really don't trust either offense, and I know the Mariners picked up Randy Arozarena, but for me, this is a Seattle team that already leads the league in strikeouts. You pick up a guy that's got a 211 batting average and is also top 35 in terms of the players with the most strikeouts in baseball this year. And I know he's got a lot of power. He's a fun player to watch, but not necessarily somebody I think moves the needle for Seattle offensively and could just fit right into what Seattle's already done this year, and that's strike out a ton. And in a game like this, I think both starting pitchers are solid, but I trust Fetty more. He's been so strong at guaranteed rate field this year. 5-1 record for a White Sox team with a 1.47 ERA. He could certainly be on the move at the trade deadline, but as long as he's starting in this game, I'm going to roll the White Sox on the money line. Next up, the Washington Nationals and the St. Louis Cardinals. Jake Irvin and Kyle Gibson are your starters. Gibson's not fared too well at Busch Stadium this year, which is surprising because Busch Stadium is more of a pitcher-friendly park, but he's got an ERA above 5 there, and you look at his last 2 home starts. His last game on July 13th, it was 4 innings, 10 base hits, 4 earned runs against the Cubs, and then against the Braves back on June 26th, another 4 earned runs and another 4 innings, so not pitching deep into games. The control was off, 7 walks combined in those 8 home innings. And you look at Jake Irvin, he's pitching well. He's in better form after having a couple of rough starts. I think Irvin pitches well enough for the Nationals to grab a win in this game. They've actually been pretty solid against right-handed pitching in July, so give me Washington on the money line. Next up, we see the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Marco Gonzalez and Brandon Pfaadt are your starters. And Brandon Pfaadt's putting together a solid campaign in 2024, a 3.74 ERA. I remember saying plenty of times at the beginning of the year and even last year, I'm not giving up on Brandon Pfaadt when he would struggle, and he certainly had his struggles, but he's sharpening up his last 4 games, 1 earned run or fewer in all those starts. He's pitched a lot better at Chase Field, and I think he gets the run support here. I know Gonzalez has a 2.7 ERA on paper, but I do expect big-time regression going forward. I like the Diamondbacks against the lefty. Give me Arizona in this one on the run line. Next up, the Oakland Athletics taking on the Los Angeles Angels. Mitch Spence and Tyler Anderson are your starters. I got to go with the over in this game. This is going to be the 4th start for Mitch Spence against the Angels in about the last month. I think the Halos get to him for a few runs. It's going to be a really tough matchup for him. Tyler Anderson, a lefty, facing an Oakland A's team that in the month of July has hit lefties very well. Anderson's been sharp recently, but look who he's faced. The Mariners twice, the Cubs, the Tigers. He faced the A's back on June 25th. He gave up 3 runs and a home run, 5 walks, and only 5 innings of work. So I think the A's get to him. I don't love either bullpen, so give me the over in A's Angels. And this is a game where I might extend the over to maybe 10.5, 11 runs. I think you'll get some nice plus money in that. So give me the over in this one. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Put those baseball picks in the comments section below. And again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.